Handling non-number input from text boxes in C# can be a little bit of work. However, it beats the alternative, just having your program crash. Let's take a look. In a previous video, I did an example called flooring where I showed you how to do input from text boxes and output to labels. And then I have another video that shows you how to do grand totals. In this video, I want to show you how to handle malformatted input. The user has fat fingers, they don't type the right things in. I just launched Visual Studio. You can see that flooring is in my most recently used. I'm just going to click on it to launch it. And once it comes up here, I'm in the code window. I'm going to click back on the form, and I don't care about the scaling, but you can remember I have 3 inputs and 3 outputs, and you can see all that in the previous videos, how that is done. Problem is, if I run the program, come up here and hit start, I have fixed the problem of doing bad input in the first text box in this program, but I have not fixed it in the other 2 yet. So I'm just going to be very careful here and make sure I type in good data. The length is Bubba. Bubba's very wide. I'm sorry, he's very long, not wide. 15 feet wide and $5.95 a square feet. Calculate. So now you can see rather than the program rolling over and dying, it says error, input string was not in a correct format. And when I hit OK, you see it has selected the text in question and it's put my focus in this text box where the error is. So now I can come here and correct that, put in 10 feet and hit calculate, and you can see it's 150 square feet, $892.50. Everything is wonderful. Now, unfortunately, if Bubba was very wide, if I type bad data into one of these other 2 that I have not handled the errors on yet, the program is going to crash. So it throws me into the compiler window and says system format exception, input string was not the correct format. So it's trying to turn Bubba into a number. It's trying to decimal parse it into a number, and it can't, so the program crashes. So I'm going to come up here and hit my stop button, and I'm going to show you now in the code window, I'm going to double click on calculate, how you handle this. And we handle these errors with a try catch. So a try catch is a statement for catching errors in C# and many other languages, but it says try this line of code, and if that causes an error, catch it. If there's no error, it just comes down to here. It's just going to go on to the next line of code. It only does the catch if there is an error, and I am catching an exception that I named EX for the exception variable, and then you see I'm saying messagebox.show, by the way, capital M, capital B, capital S, and I said error, colon, spacebar, plus EX message. So dot message is the error message we were seeing. Now, the problem with that is that's not a very meaningful error message, okay? Because it's not really telling us what's going on. So what I would rather do here is I'm going to comment this out, and I'm going to uncomment this message box. And you see right here I said messagebox.show, please enter a number for length. So I'm telling them exactly what they did wrong. And then I'm saying txt length.focus, that's the text box that has the error. And then I said txlength.select all. So that's putting the cursor back into the text box with the error, which is a good thing to do for errors. And I'm selecting all the text inside of it. And at that point, I cannot continue running. So I say return, which means exit this calculate sub. Now, I'm not doing try catches for these 2. I need to do try catches for these. Well, the lazy programmer might do this. They might just grab all of this and put it in the try. Well, the problem with this is any one of these three could cause the error. So I can't just pop out a message that says, please enter a number for length, because it could have been a number for width, or it could have been a number for text or square feet. And by the way, right here, you see it's giving me a little bit of a warning, because it's saying you're not using EX exception anymore. So actually, I'm just going to leave it like this. I'm just going to say catch exception. I'm going to clear that out. I don't need that. So the problem with doing all your inputs in one try catch is then you just have to write kind of, a generic, you screwed up, figure it out. You can't tell them exactly what happened, and then doing this stuff is inappropriate, because that's probably not the text box that caused the error. So we don't want to do it that way. What we want to do is do a try catch for each input. So I'm going to undo this stuff. Undo, 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 undo. Let me just keep undoing all this stuff and take those back out and put them down here. And let me get rid of that EX again. And I'm going to pause the video here because you don't want to see me type all this stuff. And I'll bring you back when I've got the code typed in. So through the wonders of cut and paste, I've taken my try catch for txt length, and I've changed it so that I'm trying to get the width from the second text box, and I'm catching it. And I'm trying to get the cost per square foot from the third text box, and if it's an error, I'm catching it. Except I haven't completely changed things yet, because the danger of cut and paste is you have to edit everything. So I copied and pasted it, but it still says length here when I should be talking about width, and this should be txt wid. You see, that's the name of my text box. And then down here, it's txt cost per square foot. So instead of txt length, it should be cost per square foot. And please enter a number for cost per square foot. So I have to change my messages. So to really customize your error messages, it gets kind of tedious, because I have to do a try catch for the length, I have to do a try catch for the width, and I have to do a try catch for the cost per square foot. But now that we have all this stuff, I can run through this with the debugger and show you what's going on. So I'm going to put a breakpoint here at line 55. I'm going to click in the gray margin. I've got a red circle and a red line. So my program will pause when it hits this line of code. I'm going to run the program. And let me get my program on screen, and I'll say 15 feet wide by, 15 feet long by 10 feet wide by $5.95. And then I hit the letter J, fat finger syndrome, and I hit calculate. So right now it has just come into button calculate click, and it's hit my breakpoint. It's about to try to take what is in txt length, which is a 15, and parse that into a decimal. So I'm going to hit step over, and it worked because it didn't jump to my catch. So if I hit step over, it's going to skip over my catch. So you see right now we have a 15 in des length. We're coming down. I'm going to keep hitting step over. Now we're getting ready to try to parse what's in the text box for width, which is a 10, into a decimal, which is going to work. So now we have a 10 for width. If I keep hitting step over, it skips over the catch. Now this is where disaster looms, because we have a typo in the text box for cost per square foot, because I put a J on the end of it, which is not a decimal anymore. It can't figure that out. So if I hit step over, it's going to try, and that fails. You see how it catches the exception? And in the exception, what's it going to do? It's going to do a message box. So here's my error message. Please enter a number for cost per square foot. Okay. it's going to put, I'm going to hit step over again. It's going to put the focus in that text box. It's going to select everything in that text box, and it's going to hit the return statement, because we can't calculate our answers because we have garbage in, garbage out. We can't. We're not going to get an answer. We're going to get garbage. So return just says exit the sub. You see how it jumps down to the bottom here, and then I can tell it to continue. And if we look at it, now it has that highlighted after the message. I can come here and fix it. Take the J off the end of it, hit calculate. I hit my breakpoint again. If I hit step over, that worked. I got the width successfully. I got the cost per square foot successfully. It didn't trigger any of my catches. So now I can calculate my square feet of the room, my cost. I've got 150 square feet. The cost is $892. I'm going to add that to my grand total, and then I'm going to output my 3 answers, just like I did before. So try catch is how you can catch bad input from text boxes. Another thing is to prevent bad input to text boxes by using the masked text box, which is another video. I'm going to hit my exit here, and this gets wordy because look how long it makes my function, because I'm basically repeating this code. And in a later video, we'll learn how to take all this error checking and move it off to its own function so that we can call that function from button, calculate, click, and clean things up quite a bit. Well, I'm going to come here and get rid of my breakpoint. I don't have to. I could leave it here. And if I hit save all, the next time I open my program, it would still have the breakpoint, but I want to get rid of that. Then I'm going to hit save all. Remember, save all is your friend. Then I'm going to get out of the program. And if you wanted to move your program around, remember, go to the top level, copy the entire folder, or drag and drop the entire folder. I like to say copy, then go to my destination and say paste. Now I've made a copy of my project to the desktop. Not that I want to, but that is how to catch errors. So if you like this series, please like and subscribe and hit that little bell so you'll know when I've released another video in the C# playlist. Take care.